All right, today we're going to be multiplying powers. With the same base. Multiplying powers with the same base. We're going to say when multiplying exponents. Now let's say powers. When multiplying powers with the same base, add the exponents. When you're multiplying powers with the same base, you add the exponents. What that means is if you have a to the n times a to the m, that's equal to a to the n plus m. And another way of saying that would be x to the third times x to the fourth would be equal to x to the 3 plus 4, which is equal to x to the 7th. Eight to the third times 8 to the 6th is equal to 8 to the 9th. Point five to the negative third times 0.5 to the negative 8th. All right, again, you add the exponents. So look what that would be. That would be 0.5 to the negative 11th, right? And now when you finish that, remember that an exponent is not in simplest form if it's negative. So you have to make this would be equal to 1 over 0.5 to the positive 11th power. All right, it's got to go to the denominator and it's got to make the power positive. And this rule applies if there's, just two bases or if there's more than two bases. If you have 9 to the negative third times 9 squared times 9 to the 5th. All right, again, you're just going to add the powers together. So that's going to be equal to 9 to the negative 3 plus 2 is negative 1 plus 5 is positive 4. All right, now in your calculator, there's a button that looks like this. All right. So let's say that anything to the fourth power or lower, all right, second, third, or fourth power, we're going to finish it. Meaning, if you type 9, yx, and then 4. So in the calculator, you're going to type a 9, okay? Then this button, y to the x, this button, 4, all right, and hit equals. So 9, y to the x, 4 equals 65, 61. That's how you raise 9 to the 4th power. So this is 65, 61. All right, so anything to the 4th power or less, we're going to go ahead and finish it, meaning we're going to evaluate it, meaning you're going to type it into your calculator. Anything to the 5th power or higher, you can leave. If this was 9 to the 5th, you leave it 9 to the 5th, 6th, 9 to the 7th. All right, you don't have to go ahead and raise it. The numbers start getting extremely large. All right, so everybody familiar now with this button? Hopefully you practiced it or tried it. That's for raising something to other than a squared. All right, you can use the x squared button when you want to just square something. All right, same rule applies when you're multiplying powers to variables. So let's go like 4z to the 5th. Times 9z to the negative 12th. All right. So look what we do here is we treat the numbers regular. This becomes 4 times 9. All right. And then we've got a z to the 5th times a z to the negative 12th. And now we're adding exponents with the same base. Okay. So you take your 4 times your 9, and that gives you a 36. Now look what happens with your z here. Z to the 5th times z to the negative 12th. That's going to be z to the negative 7th. All right? And we did this before Thanksgiving. That's 36 in the numerator. It's z to the positive 7th in the denominator. All right? That z to the negative 7 is not in simplest form, so it's got to go to the denominator and become positive. Two a times 9b to the 4th times 3a squared. All right, again, if you need to, you can regroup this. So you take your 2 times your 9 times your 3. All right, and then we can group our a to the 1st and our, be careful here, all right? That first a, that's a to the 1st, but it doesn't get written. All right, so that's a to the 1st times a squared. And then we've got a b to the 4th. So in simplest form, right here, that's a 1. It's implied. Don't forget it. We got 2 times 9 times 3. That's 54. A to the 1st times a squared. That's a to the 3rd. And then our b to the 4th has nothing to combine, so it stays b to the 4th. So there's your simplest form. Let's look at 5x to the 4th. Times x to the 9th. Times 3x. And let's make this 3x to the, let's make it 3x. All right, so when we regroup, we got a 5 times a 1 times a 3. So we can do 5 times 3. Our x's, we've got an x to the 4th times an x to the 9th times an x to the 1st. All right, so our 5 times 3 is 15. And our x's, since all of our bases are the same, we're going to add the powers. 4 plus 9 plus 1. 13 plus 1, that's x to the 14th. Everybody all right with that? Multiplying powers with the same base. Add the exponents. All right, now we're going to simplify some. We're going to simplify expressions with rational exponents. All right, that means you're going to be dealing with exponents that are fractions. Okay? You're going to be dealing with exponents that are fractions. So we're going to say this right here. We're going to say that if a is raised to the b over c power, what that means is that's your a under the radical to the b power that is your notation. All right, that's the c root of a raised to the b power. All right, you've usually just dealt with a 2 where this c is up until now. All right, and you've always read it as this symbol as the square root. All right, this 2 right here, that's been implied. It hasn't been written. You call this the square root of. Well, there's more than that in math, all right? You've got all kinds of roots. This is a cube root or the third root of. This can be anything, all right, in this radical symbol. This can be the fourth root of a value. All right, you're going to get exposed to that a little bit more today, where you're going to be evaluating something like 9 to the 1/2 power. All right, and what that means is the square root of 9 to the first power. And the square root of 9 to the first power is equal to 3. Now, this button right here, works the same for whole numbers as it does for rational numbers. So look, you have to understand that 9 to the 1/2 power, or 9 raised to the 1/2 power, what that means. It means the square root of 9 to the first. Okay? The other thing you can do is in your calculator, you can type 9. You can type this y to the x button. I wish you would do this, or on your phone, or whatever you use as a calculator. And then 1/2, and then push equals. All right? So take 9 and raise it to the 1/2 power. All right? And you should get 3. So you need to understand what that fraction as an exponent means, but it's also very easy to evaluate it in your calculator, because if you use this y to the x button, You can raise any number to any whole number, or you can raise any number to any fraction. All right, if you take 8 to the 1/3 power, 8 to the 1/3 power is the same thing as the third root of 8 to the first. All right, the third root of 8 to the first, if you take 8 and raise it to the 1/3 power, you're going to get a 2. All right, so you need to understand the notation, and you need to understand how to evaluate it in the calculator. All right, so if you're asked to evaluate 16 to the 1/4 power, you have to understand that it means this. It means the fourth root of 16 to the first, and then 16 to the 1/4 power. That's equal to 2 as well. (27) raised to the 2/3 power. That's the third root of 27 squared. So in your calculator, you take 27, you raise it to the 2/3 power, and that's equal to 9. And the reason you need to understand this notation, all right, is because you could be given this problem, a different way. All right, you could be given the problem just like this. All right, and if you're just given the problem as a radical, you don't have a calculator that'll do this. All right, so you need to understand that you can use this backwards as well. If you're asked to find the third root of 27 squared, understand that that just means 27 to the 2/3 power, which is equal to 9. So you can use this rule both directions. The fourth root of 16 to the third, that's the same as 16 raised to the 3/4 power. And in your calculator, 16 raised to the 3/4, that's equal to 8. Got it? Questions? All right, now the copy machine was down this morning, so you're going to have to access the work today through Focus. I uploaded the pages for today's assignment to the resources tab on Focus. All right, so you'll have to go on your phone and go to the resources, and you're going to have to find today's assignment in there. I'm getting ready to put it up here when this projector comes back.